Welcome to Dr. Johnny's House Call Lunch Break number 3. Today we're going to talk about how your pet lives in the home. One of the biggest challenges for veterinarians, especially veterinarians that work in the brick and mortar practices, is that they really have no idea what life is like for the pet in a client's home. All of us have prejudices about how we live, and we take these prejudices into the hospital, human as well as pet. So if we're very neat people, we automatically think that everybody else is like us. If we are not as neat, not as clean, we think, maybe they are like me. If we are older, we think differently than a younger person, etc., etc. So it's really important to get an idea about how the pet lives in the house. Me, I have a house call practice, so it's very easy for me not to use any prejudices because I'm walking into the home and I see where the pet lives. I see the temperature of the home, the air quality of the house. Really important for older pets, really important for cats. Remember, these pets are low to the ground, right? We're up, 5 feet, 6 feet taller than pets. So our air quality, how we smell and sense things, is not as sensitive because we're not crawling on the ground as much. So if we're using strong chemicals like ammonia, Febreze, spraying them around the house, that could cause respiratory issues that the pet can lick off the ground, can cause problems for many, many pet parents. In that regard, think about the point of view from the pet. Litter box placement. Where are they placed around the house? Is it easy for the pet to get to that if the pet's older that has to climb stairs? A real big problem where I live in Baltimore because there's row houses where I live. Noise levels, especially for older pets. Do you have children running around? Do you have televisions that are constantly on? These things cause many, many realities and affect the pet, especially older pets, in regards to behavior. But let's talk about food prep. Yesterday, I had a pet parent who had some chronic issues. The dog's 11 years old, chronically having some diarrhea and palatability issues. And I asked her yesterday, let me see where you store the food. Well, she took me to the kitchen, opened up a plastic container, and in the plastic container, she had poured all of the kibble and stored in there. And I'm under the impression, since this is a small, 11, 12 pound schnauzer, that this food probably stays in there weeks to months because she buys a big bag. Well, guess what? When you have food that you're storing for that period of time, it can go bad, especially if it's in a non-food grade plastic container. So recommendations are keep the food inside the bag that it was prepared in or that was stored in and that you purchased it in from the store, and then put the entire bag inside a plastic container. Because the food grade containers are all small. They're the containers that you keep in the refrigerator. But the large containers are storage containers that you get from Home Depot and Lowe's. These containers are small and are primarily not used for food. So, keys. 1, wash your hands before you handle any food. And not just using hand sanitizer, soap and water. Hand sanitizer destroys not just the bad bacteria, but the good bacteria as well. And you need the good bacteria to keep the entire balance correct. And if you get those kinds of hand sanitizer on the dry food you're picking up by hand, guess what? You are affecting the GI tract of the dog when he eats that food that has destroyed the positive bacteria, leading to palatability issues and GI problems. So, use a scoop, wash your hands. Don't let children play in or around the food because, of course, children always have bacteria on their hands. Purchase smaller bags because those smaller bags will not degrade as quickly over time. And when you put food out, especially wet food, do not leave it out for more than 2 to 4 hours. 2 hours, I say, is maximum. If the dog hasn't eaten 2 hours and that pet is not that hungry and or has some palatability issues. So pick that food up. And then feed her smaller portions of food multiple times a day. And we'll talk about that in the next house call lunch break. Take care. Bye-bye.